Mother, I feel you under my feet. Father, I hear your heartbeat within me. My spirit flies free. Carry me home. Carry me home. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Father, I hear your heartbeat within me. My spirit flies free. Carry me home. Carry me home. Carry me home.
All my relations, I can hear you now. The story circles, it comes back around. We chant a call and watch them all go through. That door I never saw, I never knew. Me and you, we come from earth and water. Straight from that mountain's daughter. Back to the mother, we must journey now. We ride it up on the wings of sound.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome. It is so beautiful to see so many faces. I had no idea, and I was open to however this needed to go today, not knowing who would show up. And I see so many faces I know, and that is so beautiful. I also see a lot I don't actually know in person. So as I'm managing the admit button here, let's take some moments together. This feels like a big deal to me. I don't know that we've ever had a virtual room full of midwives. So I'm feeling like really kind of emotional about it. So look around, orient yourself to these sisters all around the world that you've got, whether you know it or not. Just taking a look at the faces and scrolling through. Let's take a couple of moments to just set ourselves in our own space, in our own bodies. I know we all know to do this more often than we probably do. And I see that some people are driving and with children, that's absolutely fine. So, as it feels safe for you to do so, obviously, maybe kind of check your surroundings, see how they're feeling for you today to be where you're at. If you're able to shut the door or give yourself this hour, I think that would be a lovely gift for you, even just to have the hour with the door shut. So do if you can. And then I'd love for us all, myself included, to take a couple of moments to just check in with our own bodies, our own hearts. You don't have to shut your eyes, but if you'd like to, go ahead. Maybe it's a matter of like feeling your beating heart, if that works for you. Feeling your feet on the ground, if that's possible. Just feeling how the feet hit the ground, how they contact the earth or the floor. And just noticing the energy in your own body right now. Just noticing it as if it's electricity that you're observing. So is it moving fast in any direction in your body? Do you sense it moving slowly somewhere else? Being aware of anything that comes up for you, any feelings, any emotions as you observe the energy. Not trying to fix it, not trying to change how you're feeling, just checking in. How is your body today? How are you? What are you needing? What are you needing? If that's something you can give yourself right now, like a drink of water or using the bathroom, go for it. If you're needing something more or something else, maybe making note of it. Give yourself a few minutes after the call to check in with that. And just noticing one last thing, which is what is your stress level right now? I don't need to tell you that we all carry so much as midwives or even student midwives. Most of us have other relationships and families. And on top of that, we are serving humans and we are witness to one of the biggest initiations in life. So check your body for stress. whatever that feels like, however you notice it. And if you notice that there is stress that doesn't seem appropriate for right now, as in this moment, so not stress from yesterday or stress from what you'll do later, for right now, does this stress feel appropriate? Does it feel like it makes sense? And if the answer is no, even a little bit, maybe you're just carrying a little bit more than is needed right now, just be aware of it. Don't judge yourself. Don't yell at yourself. Don't say, oh, I shouldn't do that. Just be like, yeah, I feel that. I feel that in my body right now. And that's all. If there's a way you are being called to move your body or release it or breathe, if there's something that your body's like asking you to do, go for that as well. You can totally get up and move around. Just really honoring what is needed in this moment and reminding yourself that that is ever changing. It is ever changing what we need. And there's no shame in realizing that your body isn't quite here sometimes, right? We're carrying whatever it was, last night's birth or today's prenatal, whatever. So just being aware and just assessing that for yourself is all. There's no right way to do it. However, it could be a practice that you do every day for just a few minutes. Also one that you share with the women you're working with when they come in for a prenatal. Just having them sit like that, what is your stress level? Does it make sense for right now? And you'll be amazed at what you hear, because sometimes, even though somebody's stress level is admittedly way higher than they need, it does make sense for them in their life, and they will probably want to tell you about it. So it's another way to kind of like check in a deeper way without directly asking, so, what's going on in your life right now? What's not going well? You don't even need to phrase it that way. Just what is the body holding in this moment? It's so insightful. So I continue to be amazed and learn from my own body how effective that is. And there's nothing that requires our embodiment more, really. I mean, there are other examples, but pregnancy and birth, right? For that mama to be embodied, to feel what's happening in there is crucial, right? And it definitely affects her experience. So, what if we could help her more with something as simple as that? And thanks for doing that with me. I never quite know where things like this will go, whether it's a podcast or a call, just kind of working with the energy that we have here. I'd love to pull a card today for our brief time together, just to see if that gives any clues as to what needs to arise here. I have some ideas. I definitely want to talk about alchemy and midwifery as that practice and magic, and a fun new offering Margot and I have for all of you. I want to get all of that in, but I'd also love to hear from you just in the chat if you want to share what is feeling like a challenge right now for you in the role of midwife, and what is feeling really easy, what is feeling uplifting. I'd love to just get a sense of where people are at, since there's always that balance, right? We've got the beauty and the ease, and we definitely have the difficulties of being in this role. So take your time, take a reflective moment. I'll drink some smoothie. I'll also pull a card. And if you feel like sharing that, I'm sure it would help all of us to just hear that we're not alone. I'm sure whatever you're feeling, you are not alone in that. So this is a really simple deck. It's called Spirit Allies. Nothing super complicated here. We're also coming up on some big energies, right? We've got the new moon coming up in a couple of days. We've got a Friday the 13th simultaneously happening, and also an eclipse. So lots of big energies. I don't know what that means to you. It could mean you're feeling more than normal. Maybe you're feeling less than normal. Maybe a lot of babies will be born. I don't know that we can say exactly what it means. All right, I'm going to choose a card just to see if that's kind of a guiding force for us in our conversation. And if it resonates, great. And if it doesn't, don't take it. I don't care. So this is number 42, the moth. Any intuitive sense of what this means for you is great. And probably the best way to read a card is just what comes in for you, rather whether it's an image, a thought, a feeling, a memory, whatever. Traditionally, the moth represents transformation. I'm sure there are many meanings, but that's what is coming in for me is transformation. And I promise you, I did not like pick this card beforehand. I really did just pick it now. But it's perfect, of course, because I think that is what I'm talking about today. I'm feeling so passionate these days about seeing midwifery really transform. And I know we're all capable of holding that and watching that and doing that and witnessing that and making that happen. I'm on a break, as many of you know. So I've been off call for 4 months. And it feels like a really long time. And I'm grateful. And so I think I'm able right now to have different insights. And I'm simultaneously holding the way I see that midwifery is really broken, like collectively. There are things that really need to change at the same time that I'm holding this immense anticipation of something really wonderful blossoming for each of us in our own work and then collectively as a group. I'm really, really feeling that, like truly. And so, you know, in my own life, I'm making changes and preparing for, once again, feeling like I'm doing this in a more authentic way. And that really is what it comes back to, is authenticity. So anything you hear me say, have heard me say, anything we offer to you, of course, you're always weighing that in your own heart, right? There's no one way to do this. There definitely is not. So offering you some ideas, talking about our midwifery magic program that we have and offering that so that you can perhaps take these things or ideas or inspiration and use them to better what you're doing and not just make it better for the clients you're serving. That's great, obviously. But I think there's even more joy in this work than we realize. There's also the other things, right? There's also the awful parts. And you know, it's funny, not funny that lately I've seen my eyes are seeing different things in a different way, right? So I'm seeing like more awful things in a sense too. In fact, yesterday I put out the Sister Wound podcast that I had done a couple of months ago as a live. So that stuff is alive and well. We have an issue. We have an issue amongst women. We have an issue amongst midwives. And, you know, we can concern ourselves as much as we want with that. But at the end of the day, the work is in here. The work is for us to do. And then it will reflect into the world. So when we feel frustrated and, you know, we have things that are going on that are undesirable in this work, it's not a blame thing, but it's simply a like, let's turn it inside and see what changes we can make. And some of them are really fun and exciting. And I'll share that with you. But first, let me check out some of these comments if I can manage to get to them. Where do they go? Show chat. Yes, please. Okay. I might read some of them aloud just for the recording that will inevitably be made. If I don't read yours, it's not because of any reason. It might just be kind of a repeat. Okay, so again, I had asked people what is really difficult right now in the role of midwife and what is feeling really wonderful. Isolation, grief, lack of support. Yes, feeling that. And some echoes on that. Being exiled in a community of midwives, gossip lies spread by midwives and birth workers, but loving the women that we're serving and the tiny tribe we are creating. Feeling the shift, moving towards more self-led care, mamas. A challenge being getting clients to honor their financial agreements or getting a good system and good, just amazing butter births lately. More for the sister wound and birth gossip. So we've definitely got some themes here. And we won't be talking about all of them today. If this feels like a valid community offering, I'm happy to do this, every month or whatever, if there are things that feel like they need to be addressed. Trusting clients, yes. Yeah, so Morgan says the word midwife. I hear you on that one. That's definitely something I've been pondering and reflecting once again on responsibility and roles. I don't know if we ever get done doing that. Easy, supporting women in easy and difficult situations, second trimester loss. Difficult, getting paid a fair wage and people not paying, asking for discounts. Yes, who has not been there? And if you're a student here, this is just honest. This is just honest. And I hope you can receive all of this without judgment. These are the honest words of midwives in the role. So we don't need to pretend. The people who do want to pay aren't aligned with my values. Right. So I talk a lot about vibration and energy in this new program we have, and in general. That's kind of my life. And many of you I know are the same. So that's a huge topic. And we go into that a lot in this. It's a 12-week, essentially recorded mentorship program where Margot and I have split up topics. So we talk about money and value and abundance. And we very much talk about client selection and attracting the right women to us. So that's a huge, huge topic. Many midwives are taught that any woman that comes that can pay can be a client. And I definitely have learned over the years that I don't feel that way. You're welcome to feel that way and to operate that way, but that is not where my heart is. So even coming up with systems, it sounds very, very male, but I think the systems can be very feminine and they can be based on energy. So what energy are you carrying? What are you attracting? And how can you make that clear to women in your community, right? Before they even get to the interview process, how can you know that they're already aligned? And we'll never know 100%. So give up thinking that. But, if we want to know more clearly, then perhaps we do, especially when we're newer midwives. Some of this is just stuff we learn over the years. That's definitely something I go into. And I have a fairly intricate process that I'm always reevaluating as well. So people not being aligned with values is huge. Setting intentions, listening, and following intuition have been essential. Okay, another vote for birth community venom. Man. Midwife guilt. After a season of spreading myself too thin. So the demand in this area is higher than there are midwives. That's a really, really interesting and valid point and a unique situation, I think, right, for many of us. And the births that same person is attending are amazing. So here we are. Here's why we do this. Here's how, 5 turns into 10, turns into 15, turns into 20 years, because we are captivated, right? We are just totally captivated by the beauty that we're allowed to witness. We have some apprentice challenges, so nobody wanting an apprentice, based on like educational choices, again, valid. Again, more women that resonate with a particular style of midwifery. Let me see. Yeah, and for students, we have a lot of resources outside of here today, obviously, about choosing a path and being really clear about what path is right for you. Again, I'm not saying there is only one, but there is only one that is right for you. Probably not two. They're so different. And last but not least, for right now, and you may continue to share, risk adverse culture, lack of mutually trusting relationship with some clients, entitlement. Yeah, so much realness there. Yeah, so many of those topics. And I really appreciate everybody who sharing honestly about that, that it's not all roses, and the things that are feeling challenging. So in putting together this midwifery magic program, we were coming from so many of these same places, obviously, so many, like nothing that was typed here feels solitary to me, right? Do you all agree? Like everything you heard, can you resonate with to a certain degree? They're not new problems. So again, in my passion for revisioning what this can be, we have kind of like two sides always, right? So I love the term alchemy, and I had kind of wanted to blab on that. We'll see if that actually happens, but that's the process, right? It's kind of like a chemical process of turning lead into gold, but it's also like highly mysterious, highly magical. And what is the balance there, right? Is it science? Is it magic? And it is a practice shrouded in mystery and secrecy. So, as that has happened through the ages, in many traditions, it's not quite known how this works. And so I was reflecting last night on how, birth and midwifery, of course, mirror each other so well. So that's birth to me. You wind up with a sum greater than the parts, right? So you have a woman with a baby in her body, and then somehow the result is so much bigger and even crazier, and um, it's just unbelievable, right? So that is alchemy. We're witnessing it all of the time. And I had never thought about it like that. Another definition would be transforming something common into something exceptional. And now, talking about our midwifery practices, yes, that's birth. Birth is normal, birth is common, birth is just what we do, but yet it is exceptional and magical. The same can be said for the work that we do. And so, particularly during times of stress, burnout, all of the heavier things that you've all shared, it is hard to realize that possibly the way through is in reimagining how this all looks for you. And I know that's kind of vague. I feel like there are so many ways we talk about that in this course, that I'll have to pull up my list here so I can like be more specific. Another definition of alchemy that I think really relates to the midwifery practice we each have is this. Alchemy can be the process by which we change our attitude, our energy, our relationships, and our lives as it encourages us to thoughtfully create something new. So one of the questions we ask in our program, and we ask people all of the time, whether they're students of ours or even clients we're working with, is how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel as a midwife? And we're not going to take the time for that right now, because really that's a self-investigative process that can take some time. If that resonates with you, that's certainly something you can do on your own. Or if you're in our program, we'll be kind of coaching you through it. But that's the first question to be asking. If we don't know how we actually want to feel, then we don't know where we're going or how things can change. All we can do then is be in our work as midwives and think, at certain moments, right? This isn't working. I don't like this. I don't want to do it this way. I don't want to do that again. And that's all well and good. We also need to feel that. But again, looking ahead to say, how do I actually want to feel? And that really winds up rippling out. I mean, I have so many examples in my own life over the years where the words I chose really did come to manifestation. And I think that starts to tie into all kinds of challenges that we see for ourselves. One of them being money, being finances, being like, how do we actually receive abundance in this work? Depending where you're at, how long you've been a midwife, you might have different feelings about that. But Margot and I think, are very similar in that we believe that abundance is necessary for us to continue this work. And that might mean money. That's the simple truth of it. We need money in this world, and I don't think any of us should feel bad about that. But there are feelings around that. There are things we all carry based on how we grew up, or that we're women, or things we hear, that we end up not asking for what we really need to receive to do this work. And I mean money. So I know, Margot has helped many midwives through this, and she does in this program, working through just simple things. What is your fee? Does that even cover anything at all? Like, where did you get that number from? Right? There's a lot of financial advice I'm sure that she has. I am not really that person. I'm more the person on the other side that believes we can create whatever it is we need in our lives. So between the two of us, it's fair to say that there is often a lot of work that we can do in this area, and a lot of abundance that we can have. If we're going to do this work, and this is the way I feel, if I'm going to do this, it had better meet my needs, plain and simple. And that's not just money. Again, abundance of health, abundance of energy. I want those things for myself, and I'm not willing to compromise them to serve women. So, we get into other topics there, like self-worth comes up, and the martyr complex, right? Feeling like somehow you have to give more than is being received. And that's another thing in midwifery that I think we honestly have to look at within ourselves, because we're not doing anyone any favors by being a martyr. We're not doing anyone any favors by not charging what we're worth. And again, we go into that in depth in the 12-week course. We ran this course under a different name called Elevate last year, or in the beginning of this year. I kind of can't remember. And the women we had in that course, I know, would attest to the fact that their practices were transformed. So not just money wise, but yes, they went on to, many of them ask for more and mean it and receive more, and just be more joyful in their work, more inspired. One of the things I'm definitely passionate about, and you may know this, is the fact, and this is a fact, that each of you here has a totally unique gift and way of doing this work. And I love to see that. I love working with other midwives and student midwives and even doulas in the context of, why are you here doing this? What is your soul calling you to do? And in focusing on that, not only is it exciting, not only is it scary, not only is it going to change your life and your practice, but a lot of the heavier topics, the sister wound, the backbiting, all that shitty stuff starts to fade in the background because you realize how valuable you are to your community. And you realize, I mean, even the midwives you don't like, because we all have them, you still can see why they exist and why women need to choose that, right? So competition becomes something that we pay less attention to. And I'm not saying that's easy. It is really hard to hear gossip about yourself. I've been there. We've probably all been there. I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt, but can we use our vital energy as a creative force? And that is magic. Magic is your creative force. So if you don't like that word, sub it out. But if you're not able to access your creative force, then you end up feeling like everybody else, and midwifery becomes a competition, right? Who can't relate to that? I mean, it's in every community. Every community has this going on. I don't care how big or small, I will stick with that. Maybe there's an exception. I'm open to learning that. If there's somewhere in the world where people are like, oh no, that doesn't happen here, I'm up for that. But every community I've lived in or observed from afar has this dynamic of, we must we must sell each other out to a certain degree, or talking behind each other's back or whatever it is. You don't need to participate in that. You don't. What if you spent your vital energy figuring out what makes you the best midwife for this group of women? Because I know some of you, personally, of course. I know your gifts and talents to a certain extent. So that's another goal of our program, is to support you in figuring that out. Whether you've been a midwife for 3 years or 30 years, when you figure that out, your life will really change. And the abundance and the finances and all of that start to roll into that, because you realize you're absolutely a unique offering. There's no one out there like you. And that's not arrogance, that's not ego, that's simply like, hey, I'm here to shine a light. So are you. And I see that in you. And seeing that in each other, of course, also helps fix the problem. So you can tell I live in my imaginary world a lot in my head, where everything is wonderful and perfect. You're welcome to do the same. But I really do believe that. I really would love to see every single person on this call at the end of the 12 weeks say, oh my God, like, I have a hint of why I'm here now, and I'm so excited to explore that. Who knows what that is? Who knows what you'll start offering your clients, right? It can be anything. Maybe you realize you're really great at ceremony, and that's something we cover in the program. And that can be changed or adapted for the women you work with. It's not like you have to do my stuff. They're just ideas. But what if you realize you were really great at that? Right? There's a million talents I know you all have. So midwifery is like so close. It's so closed to the way, the way most of us learn it. The way most of us learn it, it's very closed, and it's beautiful, and it works for as long as it works. But I guess if you're someone that's at the point of like, okay, that was fun, and now I need something more, then this program might be for you. Let me take like a breather here. Right. So again, not to focus on the gossip, but we're also being honest here. It's going to happen, because there are going to be midwives and women and people forever and ever that aren't really wanting to go there. Oh, my earring flew off. They have their own path in life. So it's not even judging their path, right? It's not like, oh, I'm better because I'm doing this work. You're in this life possibly to do this work and to shift yourself, to change your life path, to shift your consciousness, and thereby shifting your community and the world. Some people are here to do that, right? We call them light workers. I actually love that word. I think it's a great word. If you're a light worker, you're here to do that. And if you happen to be a midwife, then that's where you're going to do it. You're going to do that in your own work. You're going to start to pull in different tools and ideas to get to know women better, to support them better. And of course, there is no end to that. We can always learn more and do better in a way that feels really great. Any questions, thoughts? I am going to post the link to this program and you can take a look at the page. It is a 12-week program. However, it's do it at your own pace. The last thing we wanted to do to midwives is to stress them out over dates and times and showing up live. So it's a 12-week program with 12 different lectures and, presentations by Margot and me. And you can take your time. You can do one a week and have it take 12 weeks. You can take 4 months, right? You can do whatever you want. In the course, as it's happening over the 12 weeks, and we're going to start on November 1st, we will have a few live calls like this. And if you can't make them, they'll be recorded. So at those calls, we'll be actually going into detail about what you're learning, about what you're exploring, and have more time for sharing, if you're actually in it, figuring these things out. So let me find the link. You'll see on the page that we have it outlined by week. So as I shared with you already, week 1, and I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but the first week does center around our desires, intentions, and roles. And I dare say, even if you've been a midwife for a long time, it is helpful at different intervals in my experience to reflect on these things because we're changing. Midwifery is dynamic. We're dynamic. We're not stagnant creatures in caring for women or at all. So even if you've been a midwife for a while, to allow yourself the time and space to say, how do I want this to feel now in my life now? I am not the person I was last year. What do I need? What client experiences in the last, whatever, year, 2 years have changed me? How have they changed me? What are my current definitions of responsibility, for example? That's a huge one. And then getting into, some of the somatic stuff, the body stuff, the emotions. Where am I still carrying this or that? Where am I feeling that? What's that bringing up for me? If we are ideally as grounded in ourselves, and again, feeling what we're feeling, we are the best mirrors for women in that state. And I know you know that. I'm just putting words to it. So if we're feeling stressed, if we're feeling anxious, if we've got our mind on other stuff, it's hard to be present. It's hard to hold space. And then also our chemistry starts to affect women, right? It starts to affect everybody in our life. We're all in this together. So that's another goal of this program, is to help ground you even more, teach you some maybe new things so that you can be as embodied as possible. That will reflect back to your clients. They will feel better in their bodies, right? It's amazing how nervous systems affect nervous systems. So we can never know too much about that, I don't think. We can never go too far because most women, again, have never been taught anything about actually feeling what's in them. So to me, that's where the role of a midwife really becomes something much more open. And I know for me, I'm sharing this and you don't need to take it on, but the word midwife doesn't feel like enough. I feel like there's a million other things I can offer in that scope. And that for me, midwifery is actually just a skill set. So you can sit with that. That may not be true for you, but there's a lot of ways to usher women through this initiation. And our skills, our hands, what we learned in school is definitely a part, but it's not the whole thing. Still working on posting this link, huh? Taking me a while. Okay, that's the Midwifery Magic link. Again, it's a 12-week, but take as long as you want. You will have lifetime access. We are promising a few live calls like this. And I'm open and excited to do even more live calls if that is appropriate. You know, we kind of have to wait and see who's doing this, schedule wise, right? Everybody's got stuff going on, but I'm willing to. And I can see it being a really awesome, safe space for people that are sharing these same thoughts and similar visions. So that's possible. We did do a Telegram group with our last cohort of midwives, and we still have that group. So if you don't know, Telegram is an app on your phone. It's allegedly secure, and it's really nice to post videos there and audios, and of course you can type. So we will start a Telegram group for this next Midwifery Magic group, and that's how you might get to know each other as well, right? All around the world. And we've made some really nice connections that way. Some of those midwives even are helping us out in different ways that we need with the schools. So we're always grateful for more aligned midwives in our community. We're definitely open to that. Anybody have any questions or comments about the program if you're looking at the page, or anything that I've shared that you want to talk about more for our last 10 minutes or so? I want to be prompt and we will end about on the hour. I know you all have a busy day, or here it's only morning, so maybe you're all done with your day soon. But I have a whole day ahead, so. No, Monica. So Monica, you must be coming to the retreat here, which is so exciting. I thought your name looked familiar. We have an Answering the Call to Radical Midwifery retreat here on Oahu in a couple of days. And really that's for people that aren't 100% sure this is their path, although there are students that are enrolled in the school coming as well. So no, I would say that's a great question to be more clear on my end, which is Midwifery Magic really is for people that are doing this work actively as midwives. If you're in the student role as like a senior student, it might work for you as well. That's actually a really crazy, beautiful time, right? Where you're being helped out by your mentors and you're not quite on your own, but you're starting to really formulate who you are. So you'll just have to sit with this program if that's you, and kind of sit with if it's right for you. But again, ideally, this is for women that are in it. You're in it, you have a practice. Maybe your practice is on a break like mine, whatever, great. Doesn't matter to me if you're licensed or you're not licensed, or you're a CNM or you're not. Like, I think there's plenty of amazing stuff here, and it doesn't matter. You're going to take it back to yourself and, you know, integrate it or not. You know, we get the religion question a lot. I'm really open. I don't have a way I need people to behave or things they need to believe. The word magic to me is the creative force. So, you know, if any of that doesn't feel right, then perhaps it's not right for you. But this is a course focused on creating what you want in your practice. And again, taking it back to the foundation, which is who are you? What do you want? What has happened for you? That's also individual. But if your goal is to, and we had called this Elevate for good reason, if your goal is to elevate your practice, then this is for you. We just realized in hindsight, we wanted to make some changes in the course, and that name wasn't communicating everything that we wanted. Yeah, Leah, thanks for that question. The things we learned from supporting midwives when we ran this as Elevate uh, mainly revolved around logistics, I would say. We actually had this in 6 weeks. So we had 12 presentations in 6 weeks, and they were all live. We found that was stressful for midwives, even though I think everybody showed up to everything live, like they were that committed. But we decided not to burden anybody again with that kind of schedule. And the feedback we got was it was so great and there was so much information that in 6 weeks, they needed more time to integrate. So again, the 12-week container, I think, takes care of that. And the lifetime access really takes care of that. So you don't need to stay on any sort of track. We also learned that even very experienced midwives needed a lot of support around, I hate the word business, but I don't know what else to say, around that end of things. They really needed support. So Margot did a lot of that, whether it was website help or coaching, down to some of the work around money. Not, again, repeating myself here, not up to date in a sense with like fees and making this work. I think I can't speak to other decades of midwifery in this life because I haven't been in them, right? But midwifery has gone through so much licensing in different places and acceptance and then not acceptance. Like it's been all over. So I think midwives, in decades gone by, those that have been working a long time have had obviously a different experience, but the time is different now. Like it's 2023. I think there's a lot to be said for giving and receiving, right? It's not all about receiving. It's not all about that at all. We talk a lot about giving to your community in lots of creative ways. And again, that's energetic. When we're giving, when we're being authentic, when we're showing our soul, people resonate with that and they want that. So it's not like, oh, I have to sell my midwifery, I have to sell myself as a midwife. I'm not advising that. That's not how I view it at all. So yeah, we were surprised. We were surprised by where a lot of midwives were at with that. They were really struggling, like financially in particular. It was really not working for them. So not to say, everybody completely changed their ways. It's a process. But I think most or many of them felt really encouraged in thinking about it differently again, coming up with some unique offerings that would make them really unique in their community, that kind of thing. Uh, Kind of to tie it up, you can take a look at the page, obviously. I hope you do. And I hope you share it if you have midwife sisters or friends in your community or outside of your community. I think it would be a really fun thing to do with a midwife friend, kind of work on it together. You can check that out. But looking at the page myself, one of my favorite things to offer was definitely like the deprogramming week, the deprogramming conversation. I love that. I love questioning everything. I know many of you are the same. And that was really fun to do, even with experienced midwives, like just going through it all and kind of being like, why this and why not that? Or what larger meaning does this have? Where do we get that from? Why are we bringing that in? And we were able to have, I think, some really honest conversations in doing that. And of course, I learned a ton. I always do. And of course, I made a lot of changes to my own practice. So it was, mutually beneficial to to do that in a group and to challenge, right? I love challenging beliefs. Like, I don't want to see the same old things happening all the time in midwifery and birth. I don't want to see that. I want people to at least think about why they're doing what they're doing. And if you choose to do it, great. That's your deal. That's your practice. But it's, it's the unconscious beliefs that sometimes are guiding all of us all of the time in our lives, in our practice. So that was a really fun opportunity in the course to get people to kind of verbalize some of those things. And again, to reflect back to each other, like, oh yeah, I do sort of carry that, or it looks like I might believe that. That's interesting. How does that change my perception of things? How does that change how I'm a midwife? Yeah, and Briella, your comment, it's funny to realize even when you're a radical midwife, what programming you have. Of course. Of course. We are human. We are on this plane, and none of us are children. So there are beliefs running in there that are beneficial. Sure, many of them are. Many of them have brought us magic already in our lives. And, there is still a lot of work to do. So I would say this program is for the curious people amongst us, the women here or, wherever that are working as midwives, even if they're not using that word, who just want to find more joy and have, better experiences and deeper connections and remember why they were possibly doing this work in the first place. And if you're new, that might not apply to you. If you're a new midwife, you're exuberant, you're in it, you haven't had some of these challenges yet. My hope for you would be that you're better prepared for some of these challenges than I have felt. Many of you maybe agree if you've been in this for a while. We don't get this education in midwifery school. We don't get it. We don't get how to be in our bodies. We don't get some of this stuff. Unless you're our student, you might have gotten some of this, but I think even the container of our school, which of course I love, this is really like an addition. Our students haven't gotten all of this because there is a ton to learn. We all know that. There's a ton of clinical knowledge to learn. There's a ton to learn, but this is like the icing. The rest, I'm terrible. I always say like a monkey could learn it. Like clinical midwifery is not hard, right? Like it's not. And that doesn't disrespect any of us, myself included, but that's not the tricky part. The tricky part is finding yourself in the mess of it and not selling your soul on top of it and not betraying yourself and your life and your sisters, right? There is so much more to it than the skills we are taught and the book knowledge that we have. Big breath. That was a lot, but it's just 11 o'clock here. We will be emailing you all the links. So if you didn't save that, you're in your car driving, no worries. We'll send that to you. And this recording will go out probably later today. I want to just take like 20 seconds and sort of close the circle just energetically. I always love to imagine when I do these meetings that like we're actually in the same place, really, Maybe it's someone's yurt, like maybe we're out on the beach, but just taking a moment to like feel that we're all here together and that looking in different faces. I think you're all so beautiful. And the fact that you're doing this work and you care and you want more is so exciting. And I think really is a beautiful way of connecting us all. So I feel that. I feel that in my heart. As I always say, the circle is ended. It's not broken, but it's ended for now. I would love to see you in our Midwifery Magic program. We start November 1st. And again, you're going to be on your own time schedule perhaps, but we do start November 1st. And the early bird special is $500 off the normal price. So the normal price is $19.99. The early bird special is $14.99, and that is until October 18th. So you have 8 days to sit with this, to decide. You may certainly register after that, but that's the offer. And we'd love to see you there. So email me if you have any questions, marin@indiebirth.org. Otherwise, I am so grateful to you for being here and for doing this for yourself and for connecting with me. So have a beautiful weekend and new moon and eclipse, everybody. I'll see you soon.